Welcome to part 2.1 of the video series where I make a song. There was a little bit of movie magic going on at the end of the last one where we played the song at the end. I put a decent amount of work into the track after kind of that last recorded video and before the song played at the end. I kind of realized I wasn't super happy with a couple aspects of the song. The first one being I had recorded that little pre-chorus deal, and then just we went into another chorus that was essentially the same as the first chorus. I think the bass was a little bit different, but it basically sounded exactly the same. So I wanted to re-record the guitar for that second chorus and make it sound a lot different, do kind of like a different strum pattern, like a lot sparser. And I'll kind of show what I recorded for that. I had mentioned earlier in the video that sometimes I try to come up with a new chord voicing rather than just the capoed stuff. And that is what I ended up doing for that second chorus. So I played the same four chords, just a different like open voicing up here. So I'll play what made it into the final song with those chorus chords, something like this. So it was just a little like chuckier and a little bit more space for the vocals to breathe. So I thought that sounded pretty nice, making the second chorus sound different from the first. The other thing I wasn't loving was like the mixing of that buzzy synth right at the end. Just didn't sound right. It was like so different on like coming out of my phone versus coming out of the speakers versus coming out of the car. And just nothing I did would make it sound even remotely right volume-wise. And another problem I was kind of wrestling with at the same time is I posted the song to Reddit for like feedback on one of the music making subs. And one of the pieces of advice I got was that there was not enough low end in the song, which I always kind of struggle with because I feel like even commercially produced good songs, when I'm listening in the car, the bass is often like unpleasantly loud, and I don't like to turn down the bass in the car because I feel like I want to get a true representation of what the song actually sounds like. So I think I naturally always mix my songs to be very treble heavy to avoid that sort of unpleasant car sound. But I guess that those comments kind of made me realize like, it's probably just my car. I need to like make it sound nice on my studio monitors and kind of get the bass levels going there. So what I ended up doing to address both of those issues is I just changed the exact same MIDI track I had for that ending synth to be a different software instrument, which I actually think ended up sounding way better. And then I recorded some more bass to go at the beginning of the song with that same synth sound. And another thing I struggled with for a while on this song was the de-esser. I think I mentioned in an earlier portion of the video really wasn't working that well, and the S's were still ringing out really loud, kind of like the T sounds as well. So what I ended up doing is what I've done in a lot of songs is just manually going through the automation and like bringing down the volume everywhere there's an S. And so I had to like export the song a bunch of times to listen to it on different speakers to see like exactly how much volume reduction was needed at those areas, which is kind of annoying, but I feel like I have to do that just about every song. I was kind of given a false sense of security because the last song I made, I did just put on that like de-esser for essentially the scratch vocals, and it sounded great. So I didn't really have to do a whole lot of automation, but that basically never happens. So I had to for this song go in and do a bunch of just manual volume automation to get those S's sounding decent, and I think they still don't sound amazing. So yeah, just kind of looking back at the process, the first video I recorded for this song was only 3 weeks ago, so it hasn't been that long. I think that's just about average for like a song that goes well and that I end up finishing. Sometimes I'll chip away at a song that is not going well for a lot longer than that and then abandon it. But I think this was a fairly typical process. I've had songs where I record one version of it and I don't like it, but I like the lyrics, so I kind of like redo the whole thing. But that didn't happen for this one, maybe because I was like making an effort to follow my typical process for the video, and also maybe just because I more or less liked where it was going with the typical process. And so now I have submitted the song to DistroKid, which is the distributing internet service I use to put it on like all the streaming platforms and all that. And now that I've, spent a ton of time listening to the song over the last couple weeks while I'm making it, I probably won't listen to it until it comes out. I always get in, as I think a lot of creative people do, like once you sort of decide it's finished, then it's time to hate the thing for a while. And once you have some more space between you and the process of making it, then you can maybe like it and appreciate it for what it is, instead of like thinking about all the things you could have done better or should have done better. And that was a little bit of the impetus behind me re-recording that guitar and like messing with the bass a bunch, was that had started to happen before I was done with the song. Like I listened to it so much and I was like, oh, this is actually bad. I don't want to do anything with this anymore. So I felt like I had to either just let it sit for a long time and then come back to it, or kind of switch it up in a way that I was excited about. And that guitar change at the end, I think sort of did that. So now I'm glad to have it done, and off in the internet, getting ready to go places. I guess one thing I haven't talked about at all is the album art, which, I don't know, I always just make it myself based on what I feel like it wants to be. For this one, I took a photo and sort of doctored that up, rather than like I usually have been drawing stuff on the iPad and kind of using some sort of abstract, like binder art type lines on my album art. All right, and there it is. We've basically finished a song. And in case you haven't already guessed, the title of this video is just a reference to how you always think something's done, and maybe you're even in the process of exporting it, and then you hear something that you don't like and have to go back to the drawing board, and that's like, no, this is actually the final version. Oh no, final version 2, final version 3, true final version. So just a bunch of that going on throughout the process. But now that it's been uploaded, it truly is the final version, unless I decide to stop it from uploading and then fix something else. But I probably won't do that, because I don't think there's anything that I could possibly care enough about to undo the process and dive back into the song when I do kind of feel like I've gotten my money's worth and finished it up. So yeah, the song is going to be called Morning, and it has been made.